my plan here is to paint a little goldfish on colored paper using a variety, small variety rather, of handmade paints that I made. And even though the style is similar to Chinese brush painting, I have no training in that beautiful art, and I respectfully draw inspiration from it without claiming any kind of mastery. The reason why I'm using this style is that I think it works best with what I want to do here, and that is test some palette I put together. And the palette is called Heart of Gold. I like to give my palettes imaginative names. And I'm going to show it to you in a minute. So this is the palette. It has 3 colors. One, this is the most interesting one. I bought the pigment in Italy. It's pure brass. It's very unusual to find in the States, at least, is a pure brass watercolor. Usually that color is achieved like this one, which I call, well, my daughter called golden hour. Sometimes if she's visiting, I'll ask her for advice on names. She's a writing minor, loves to write, and loves to help me out with names of pigments. I am going to swatch them out for you so you can see them. They're very lovely. So this is the mica based pigment called golden hour. I created it with a mixture of a mica based white from Italy and a German pigment. This is what I call golden earth. That is basically a raw sienna with some bright yellow added, so it's quite bright. And then this is the pure brass. And like many metallics, both real metallics and mica metallics, they look really nice on colored paper. So even though I'm not used to working with colored paper, I happen to have this paper from Paris, of all places. Not a recent purchase. This was a while ago. I bought it for some reason. I'd probably just started painting and I was intrigued by it, not fully realizing that colored paper doesn't work so well with watercolor. But you know, if you keep art supplies long enough, and unless you forget you have them, opportunities likely to arise for you to use them. And this is exactly what's happening with this paper. So I started with the golden earth, which is kind of the more assertive of these colors, and I dried just a tiny bit, and I'm continuing with this lovely mica color. Now, even though this really is not supposed to be a layered painting, it's going to have to wait a little bit for the next layer. Now is the fun part, because I'm going to add my true metallic and that is my brass. It's really magical to work with real powdered metal. This is not watercolor paper, so wetting it causes some problems. But the spirit of play doesn't really matter. So it's not working in terms of layers anymore, but more with some randomness to it. I'm going to eventually, when it's all dry, do some detailing with a white pen and with a black pencil. But at this point, I think we need to let this dry again. So I'm gonna do the final touches here. A little bit of dots. And lines. And then with my black pencil, gonna highlight the eye a little bit. And finally, I find a white gel pen useful sometimes for a simple highlight. And one last thing, in that highlight, I'm gonna do a red dot. Actually, a few more dots here. And the reason why I had this long paper is not random, but rather I thought I could do a little, shall we say, seaweed to give this little fish a little bit of an environment. And here's my little fish made with my handmade watercolors of metallics and micas. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have questions.